How sure are we that the media is going to feast on Kamala Harris after the debate? Pretty sure, right? Let's not forget that after the Biden Trump debate, voters told the media that they were really turned off by Trump's lies and his behavior. But the media decided that, as we all knew they would, that Biden had lost the debate, even though he tried to discuss policy, right? Which they now claim is why they need Vice President Kamala Harris to do more interviews with them rather than these kind of local interviews she's been doing, local radio shows, and the CNN interview that she was did. Um, so they've been doing all those interviews. And the media's not happy, but it's just been 2 months since the last debate, right? And that debate reshaped this whole political landscape. And now it's September of an election year, and a lot of voters don't know a heck of a lot about Vice President Kamala Harris yet. Trump has done 6 presidential general election debates. Kamala Harris has done 0. So the stakes are pretty high. Donna Brazile even said that the Harris Trump debate that's coming up in Philadelphia is going to be probably the most consequential debate in American history. I'm not sure that it's going to be that big, but the BP has surged in recent public and private polling, but she still needs to define herself and her sort of new way forward agenda to the voters. A lot of American voters still don't really know a lot about her, and specifically swing voters, people who don't pay a lot of attention to politics, right? So before Trump can define her, she needs to do that. And that's what she's going to be trying to do at this debate. So for that reason, I don't think we should expect Harris to do this kind of full and knockout punch of Donald Trump, like I'm sure a lot of us would love to watch, but more of this kind of appeal to voters on the margins, right? To many of those voters, they don't watch debates, they don't watch conventions, but rather they see a lot of it, like just little short clips on social media. That's what they're going to be judging on. So you really can't misstep there. Harris has to do a lot of bring herself forward and without falling into Trump's negative trap. Trump is the most annoying character of politics probably ever. He knows how to steal the limelight with whining and negativity. And it's time to pivot, right? That's what the American voters want to do. And that's what Harris has been selling to. The truth of this whole thing, which I told the BBC, is that this is probably going to be more of this kind of vibe election. Like, do you want to keep your democracy? Do you want to keep your freedoms? Do you want a competent governance, right? Rather than this policy white papers kind of election. And I'm not even really sure that we've ever had a policy election since TV became so important in politics. I think we in the media, we journalists like to believe that those things are important because we cover policy all the time. But I'm not really sure that voters want to deep dive into Harris's white papers. To that end, Harris is known for her dedication to preparation and has had this kind of briefing cram sessions in this short 7 weeks since she became a candidate. She is currently in Pittsburgh doing her kind of debate prep at a hotel in Pittsburgh. You've probably heard about how prepared she is. I know the media ran with these stories that she demanded that the people that work for her actually do their job. It's shocking. Everybody's outraged. A woman, a black woman, who does she think she is? That's what we can expect from the media, right? Donald Trump isn't stupid. I know people think he is. He wanted to run away from this debate. We know that. He's spent a lot of time behind the scenes while he's been complaining about this debate, negotiating things so they were more positive for Donald Trump, like the keeping the mics muted. And Donald Trump privately told people that he did not want to be unmuted. He didn't want Vice President Kamala Harris to do to him what she did to Mike. And that was the moment that she told Mike Pence to, not interrupt her because she's speaking. So they knew those moments would actually be good for Harris because they were going to show people who Donald Trump is. People are going to like it. So the Harris campaign had been kind of planning on having a few of those viral moments, like she did even when she did the confirmation hearings, Brett Kavanaugh, Jeff Sessions. But she has still managed to use this muted mic debate to paint Trump as someone whose own team really doesn't trust him because he's so out of control. They don't trust him to have a mic that's unmuted, and they know they have to handle him carefully because he's a child. So she can do that during the debate with just a little glance at the camera, raise eyebrow, the old left eyebrow that raises up, and with her own behavior, kind of be this direct foil to his lowbrow behavior. And I am expecting to see threads of that throughout this debate from Harris, as she said in the 2016 Senate campaign debate. So there is a clear difference between the candidates in this race. One of Harris's most popular lines from her rallies has been, if you've got something to say it to my face. I think she's going to say some of those versions of those things during this debate, and that's going to get Trump upset. And it might get him upset enough to show his true personality, which would be a big loss for Trump. Harris has hurdles to overcome in this debate. She's got to make sure voters know who she is. They've got to know more about her and what she stands for. So she needs to be making this case to those people that not just cutting Trump down and not falling into his negativity, even when he tries to bully her, like he does to all candidates that he has debated. Her base is going to want to see her beat him up, but she's got to be talking to those swing voters. And I think she can make that case the way the night of the DNC about the rule of law, about America remaining a democracy. And she can build on that by talking about and her Vice President Dick Cheney and his daughter, Representative Liz Cheney, supporting her. That's a big tent coalition that's opened up under the Democrats as they fight off encouraging autocracy that Donald Trump is trying to usher back into the White House. But she does have this also the specific way, of depriving oxygen from Trump by deploying her kind of that prosecutorial tone that she has and the way you treat a child, right? This kind of dismissive, she could just do that dismissive thing and move on. That deprives him of oxygen for his bullying and his misogyny. Well, it does also let people see who he is and that he's trying it again, right? And we have seen some data come in that the negative Trump ads actually don't move people. What's moving people is making a positive case for Harris. So that's something she's going to be focused on in this debate again. When you're going up against somebody like Donald Trump, who's a gish gal, where it's difficult, right? No debaters have not figured that out. That's how Biden lost to Trump. One of the ways he lost, because Trump does this kind of just overwhelm with lies, just keep going, keep going. And the person who is in that position of actually trying to make a policy argument, actually trying to be positive while not letting these lies stick to them, they're in a no-win situation. This is what always works for Donald Trump. Now, that wouldn't work if the media did their job after the fact, and it wouldn't work with seasoned debaters. Why it works with our media, that's something I think is a big problem, because they do know better, or most of them should know better. But they continue to kind of push the narratives that stuff is working. That is a disservice to the American voters. We know the media doesn't really care about policy also, and I'd like to make that point because they disregarded it during that debate. They disregarded Biden's policy points in favor of Trump's bombastic thuggery. So, inexperienced debate moderators, and I'm not saying that the people at CNN were that, but I'm talking about the media afterward. They're making the assessment of what happened. And maybe our media culture's kind of been primed to reward drama more than informative content, but don't come back then and say Vice President Harris needs to do interviews with you. If you don't care about policy, then that needs to be across the board. That you don't care about policy and you just want to let the voters decide based on personality, which is what they did in the Biden-Trump debate. Now, I don't think that Kamala Harris is going to let them off that easy, but again, she has done 0 presidential debates. Trump has done 6 of them. She's got to hold herself up as the more credible expert and point out Trump's weakest, most bad faith argument. That's how you deal with the Gish caliber, dismantle the logic behind it while taking down his credibility and, maybe asking why he's so dishonest and then pointing out that she knows Trump's style is to dump a bunch of lies on his opponent and leave them to clean up the mess. But she wants to use this time productively to reach the American people respect for their time and for their votes. So she is going to focus on her forward agenda. And when he continues, she can do that kind of steely smile that she gave Kavanaugh and say, my opponent won't let go of this one issue when I have brought up a dozen important policies to protect Americans' freedoms. But I believe Americans are tired of Trump. of the Trump era divisiveness, and they want to move beyond it. Harris is ready for Trump's ad hominem and cheap personal attacks. When he stoops to sexism and racism, because he will, the only question is how he will do this, and is he going to become physically aggressive like he did against Hillary Clinton? Or is he going to reduce Kamala Harris or try to being a sexualized kind of pretty face like he's already done? Trump has already shown that he doesn't respect Harris's intelligence, and he has fallen for his own party's false rhetoric about her. He has been seen calling her an effing bitch in front of his own son. So he shows a lot of contempt for the vice president. And I suspect that that means he's afraid of her. And in private, he uses a lot of misogynistic language to describe her. And he gossips about her when he talks about her past romantic relationships. I think he's going to try that in this debate. And I think it's not going to go well for him because women deserve to be in positions of power without being sexualized in front of all the viewers, right? So I hope the moderators are ready for that. But this is behavior that we can expect from someone who's been found liable for sexual assault. This is the man who brags about getting Roe overturned and bragged about getting away with grabbing women anywhere he wants to. That's what you can expect. Is that the kind of man you want to have power over your daughter? That's what I hope she brings up when he tries this stuff in the debate. Because I think making that appeal to people, but is this the kind of man that you trust? Would you leave your daughter alone in the room with this man? Why would you give him that power? After all the things he's said and done, and the man's been found liable for rape. He's a convicted felon, 34 felony accounts. So there's a lot of reasons that things she can bring up that are going to upset Trump. He doesn't want to talk about his felony convictions. He's going to start screaming about a witch hunt and all of that. I think she's going to trigger him. I'm not looking forward to him being a misogynistic pig or his racism, but I am looking forward to watching Kamala Harris kind of ignore all of that and make her case to the people and tie his behavior into his criminal actions and the kind of person he is, his character, his moral character. Is he the kind of person that you want to be president? Hopefully Trump's going to be out and he tries this stuff in the debate because I think making that appeal to people, but is this the kind of man that you trust to have power? Would you leave your daughter alone in the room with this man? Why would you let him make laws? Why would you let him have regulatory authority? After all the things he's said and done, and the man's been found liable for rape. He's a convicted felon, 34 felony accounts. There's a lot of reasons that she can bring up that are going to upset Trump. He doesn't want to talk about his felony convictions. He's going to start screaming about a witch hunt and all of that. I think she's going to trigger him. I'm looking forward to watching Kamala Harris kind of ignore all of that and make her case to the people and tie his behavior into his criminal actions. His character, his moral character. Is he the kind of person that you want to be president? Hopefully Trump's going to be asked about his comment about how he would implement the mass deportation that he keeps talking about, saying he'd use police and the military, soldiers, deport like 12 million undocumented people. He said it was going to be bloody. So let's see if he's asked about that. Let me know in the comments what you expect from the media. Do you think they're going to fail again? Do you think they're going to build the country as they did after the Biden-Trump debate? And if not, let me know why, because I'd be very curious. Thanks, guys.